Thanks for the opportunity to speak with you today. Just a bit about myself before I do. My name is Andrew Bridgeland, Sales Manager for Astron Life in Adelaide. However, I'm speaking to you today regarding an experience I had whilst an advisor a few years ago, working within my own business, and in particular regarding two of my clients, Ed and Mary. Well, I met with Ed and Mary and as they were planning to retire in the coming months, or certainly Ed was, went through their situation, looked at their goals and dreams in retirement and how best to set up a retirement plan for them. There was things like, and I've noted down here from the client questionnaire, Ed wished to retire on the 30th of June in that particular year. Mary had already retired. They had two children and 4 grandchildren. They were planning to go to England, which was definitely Ed's dream, I guess, because he wanted to see an Ashes test in England and see that, and Mary wanted to visit her brother in Devon, and they wanted to do a bit of travel around Australia and New Zealand. What they wanted to achieve, I guess, through the financial planning process was financial stability and peace of mind in retirement. They wanted to maximise the pension, pay little or no tax, as most would be the one for most people, and ensure that they could do the travel that we discussed earlier in the meeting. Yes, I did ask them one other thing in the meeting. I asked them what were their 2 greatest concerns in retirement, and as was a fairly common response for most of my retiree clients, the 2 greatest concerns for them were health and running out of money. So what happened next? I then saw Ed and Mary about 4 times over the next 2 months to set up their retirement plan and put that all in place. Their cost of living expenses were approximately $50,000 per annum. What we achieved was we maximised their pension. They had a steady and desired income level and money available basically for the travel that they'd been wanting to do, and also paying virtually no tax. Well, what happened next, and I can still recall the day, I received a phone call from Mary. Their son-in-law Jack unfortunately had been killed in a car accident. Mary was actually calling to check and see that they could get access to some of their funds to pay for Jack's funeral. I said, look, this is not a problem. I put her mind at ease. We'd actually set up a couple of allocated pensions, one for each of them, and lifetime annuities, and they were actually able to get some money out of their allocated pensions. So I arranged that for them and said I'd drop around at 10 o'clock the next morning to go through the finer points of that. Subsequent to this, I met with Jack's widow, or their daughter Irene, and met her 2 children, and what we discovered, and this was post-funeral, was that Jack had unfortunately no private insurance cover in place. All he had was some default cover through his employer, which was actually an industry fund. Unfortunately, this was not even enough to pay for a quarter of the mortgage, and certainly not enough to have any left over to replace income for many years into the future. Clearly Irene was grieving the loss of her husband and was not in a good place financially, particularly from a long-term perspective. So what did Ed and Mary do? Ed and Mary did what any parent would do, and they stepped in financially to ensure that they could help their child Irene and their grandchildren Jack and Billy to survive financially, and they've done so ever since. I'm telling this story because I'm very passionate, particularly since this event, that I just don't want this to happen to other retirees or even pre-retirees. I don't want to see your clients' plans and dreams impacted to the point where their retirement is being jeopardised by the fact that I haven't had the opportunity, or you haven't had the opportunity, to get in front of those clients and have a discussion with them in terms of if something did occur and they weren't adequately insured. I would always ask my retiree and pre-retiree clients post this event, would you step in financially if something occurred and you found out they were either inadequately insured or not insured at all? And always the answer would be yes. What I'd suggest to any financial planner talking to a pre-retiree or a retiree client is please, bring up the question of family risk. ask them the question, should something happen to one of your children or their spouse and they were not insured, would you step in financially? And if they said yes, and most of them will, virtually all of them will say yes or absolutely, then what I would say next is please say to them, can we just spend a few minutes talking about your family? And then generally I would go through a family tree and start talking about their children. I'd also suggest to the clients that perhaps they could buy a financial plan for their kids, or, and in quite a lot of instances in my own experience, suggest that they pay for the premiums for the kids. At the end of the day, we just don't want our clients, your clients, being exposed through an event such as this.